If you stop to think about it for a minute, you'll see that it's people like this who keep the whole thing going. A skilled mechanic installing a new engine will help keep a bus rolling in the Bronx. A shop worker in Jamaica works on a new drawbar to keep a car rolling on Long Island. A dispatcher at a new control center will help keep the subways on schedule.
Bob, we have a report of a southbound express lane at 72nd and Broadway. Will you give me that home signal, please?
Yeah, it's lane at 72nd Street behind 274. We'll have to come down from 96th Street around through Times Square there.
An engineer working on a blueprint will help transform a drab, poorly lit station into a bright, modernized facility. There's an amazing variety of people working in the MTA family, but none of them feel the sense of challenge so directly as the members of the MTA board. 11 men from all over the region, from various backgrounds, who must make the tough policy decisions that will steer us toward our hopes for more reliable, comfortable, attractive, and accessible transportation services.
And it may vary. The differences are often look quite small. If a station is located on a certain street, whether the mezzanine runs north or south from there, maybe 3 or 4 blocks, may make 8 blocks difference at the far ends of it, and may be very important whether which side of the street it's on. It may not make any difference in terms of the staging for the subway itself, and they get to be very much more interesting questions than they might appear at the first.
The other area that's being looked at is since this is going to obviously greatly enhance property values, is the way in which we might cooperate with the City Planning Commission and so on in foreseeing that and in getting whatever easements and so on necessary to do what ought to be done in terms of access to a mass transportation facility of this kind. It's very important.
Here are the people they're working for. The passenger, the strap hanger, the patient traveler. Long neglected and abused, our rider now becomes the focus of MTA concern.
Among other things, help us get that word mass out of mass transportation, if I may say so, because I think that's a dismal appellation for anything to call this mass transportation. And of course what we're trying to do is to individualize it more, and that's why we've gone to air conditioning. That's why we're going to new cars. That's why we're doing many of these things.
The MTA is trying to look at public transportation as a service for each and every individual rider. Why? People are the clients of the MTA. And public transportation is not only meant to take them to work or school, it also takes them to all of the fun places in the metropolitan area. And some passengers, at the end of the day, can unwind in a commuter bar car. On the Long Island Railroad, bar cars have always been a pleasure. Besides, they've been the only moneymaker on the line for years. People are the clients. Now look at these new cars on the Long Island Railroad. They call them the Metropolitans. When a passenger gets on a new Metropolitan, he notices a big difference. It is designed to serve the individual passenger, not to be incidental hardware. It's functional, and it's beautiful. Look at the new air-conditioned subway cars, comfortable to ride in and pretty to look at. And look at the new air-conditioned buses. New cars and equipment take time to manufacture. So the old cars and equipment have to be fixed up, cleaned up, and painted. A 20-year-old car is brought into the shop. New seats, new floors, new doors, air conditioning are installed, and then the car is painted in the new blue and silver colors. Well, maybe not quite as good as a brand new car, but a lot better than it was before. Good maintenance is another key to passenger comfort. Fans have to operate, doors have to open, and lights have to work. When the wheels of a subway car go flat or start to wear down, it's time to get the car off the line and into the shop. Above ground and below, stations are getting cleaned and painted. Even waiting can be made a little more pleasant for all the passengers. There's no substitute for a good ride, but if something is off schedule, people ought to know about it. Suppose the 616 is detained. The missus can find out where her husband is by pushing a radio button.
The 719 from Far Rockaway to Penn Station is running 15 minutes late.
But that's the only late train all morning so far, Herb, and all other trains on the other 8 branches are running right on time. I would like to mention for our baseball fans out there that we have special trains to Shea Stadium, and they'll be stopping right at the stadium itself up to 2 hours prior to the ball game.
Usually, the passenger just cares about getting to where he's going. He's not apt to notice what's going on backstage or out along the line to improve things. Well, a lot is going on these days. The passenger doesn't often see the men who are making the platforms longer, so it'll be easier and faster for more people to get in and out of a train. He doesn't see the people at work digging a new subway arcade for easier transfer. Now, you may have seen these men at work. Out near Huntington on Long Island, they've added a new section of electrified line. That means faster service farther and farther out on the island. And the passenger probably doesn't know the reason for all the new substations going up along the Long Island Railroad. These substations quietly convert high-voltage electricity to accommodate the new air-conditioned and high-speed trains. Also backstage are all the training programs. Training is essential in a system that has lost thousands of skilled workers due to recent changes in the retirement law. Every day, new young people are brought in. They learn to operate an expanding system. The newcomers learn to run all kinds of equipment, old and new. They learn to run it right and run it safe.
Now, if you had trouble on a train where the doors failed to open, now we have here 8 cars. What are your instructions in the event you had failure of the last 3 cars to open?
First, I will pull the emergency valve, give the motorman one long buzzer, and walk back and rotate the drum switches.
Fellas, this here is electric train stop we use on the transit system. Now, one of the main problems we have with this type of equipment is the number 9 contact over here. Now, this contact, unless it faces up...
Keep going and rebuild. That's the transportation challenge.